Welcome back, everyone, to BBB Sharing. I'm Evie, Director of Ignite, sparked by BBB. We are here in the Ignite podcast studio once again, and it is a wonderful Monday afternoon. I have with me Ashley.
Ashley Abplanalp.
Awesome. See, I only know you based off of the very short conversation that we had prior. Barry kind of likes to say, hey, do a podcast with this person. I'm like, you bet, I got it. So I've heard a couple key words from you, like money mom and money momentum. What is it? What is that, number one? And how has it led you to what you do now?
Okay, well, yes. So I am a financial coach and trainer. And what I do is I work with families and individuals to help them smooth out their financial processes, personal processes, as well as if they're a small business owner, I will help them navigate through setting up a profit first type of process so that they have the highest opportunity for success in their financial matters. And what I do first and foremost is I always focus on the personal side, because if your house is on fire, then it doesn't matter what's happening in the business, because you are unstable, or the trailing entrepreneurial spouse is wondering where the heck is the money. Because a lot of the times we come across, or I work with entrepreneurs, and the trailing spouse or partner is like, we can't pay the mortgage, or we're late on the truck payment, or the credit card debt is up, what's happening with our pay schedule, because, it's not a regular paycheck yet. But that is one of the processes that I work with families, individuals, and small business owners to attain, because once you attain that process, then the irregular income scenario becomes a very regular paycheck, and we stabilize the household immediately, because that's typically the biggest fire that
I was going to say that's really important.
Yeah.
One of the things that I learned growing up, I told you about my family businesses. My dad always made sure that everybody was involved with what was going on, so that we understood the extent of what money is when you have a business. All the, bills that come out, the taxes you have to pay, what it means to have to pay yourself as a business owner and not have to have the financial burden of what if something happens.
Right.
Yeah. And so I completely understand, and I think it's wonderful that you go towards that personal aspect first. You never know what your fallback man is going to be.
Correct. And by having that emergency fund, and I am a product from the Dave Ramsey, not Everyday Millionaires, although I have kind of read that book.
Love Dave Ramsey.
Yeah. Total Money Makeover is where we got started, I'm also a licensed real estate agent, and I work for the Baran Group at Shaheen, Ruth Martin in Fawnville. And we, back in the day, my team leader and I, Kristen Krupp, we worked together, and she did her business, but I was over here, doing mine. But guess what? In 2008, a little blip in the market happened, and it continued to affect us because we were also expanding our family. So when the closings weren't happening regularly and bills were stacking up, or we just weren't paying attention as we should have, my husband was like, what is going on? When are you selling the next house? And it's very hard when you have 3 children, 5 and under, to even catch your breath, especially during that time. And so I just got to work and understood, okay, if it's meant to be, it's up to me. And I just went down and followed the Total Money Makeover process and got all of our ducks in a row, and we ended up paying off and becoming debt free
Wow.
within a year of starting that. And we started in January of 2012. Wow. I remember that because my son was very young. And in 2013, I went to Tennessee to counselor training.
Oh, wow.
And that's what it was called at the time. And when I was there, I remember at the time they were only focused on church ministry, right, in terms of financial wellness and planning and everything. But I'm like, a real estate agent.
Yep.
I've had my own business. I know I can do whatever this is out in my community.
Yeah.
And that was so important for me because I'm a refugee from the People's Republic of Northern Virginia.
I feel you.
Do you? You feel me on that?
My family members are like, I'm stuck in traffic again.
Yes. Well, I grew up in Fairfax County, and I loved my time there. But when my husband and I were ready to think about starting a family, I was like, I don't want the sitting in traffic. I don't
Yeah.
want all that, because I didn't know if I was going to stay at home, but I wanted the option. So anyway, I forget.
I got you off traffic.
Yeah, that happens. Squirrel. And anyway, so in 2013, I was in Tennessee, came back, and I said, who out there? Because I literally called up the Ramsey organization.
Really?
And talked to this guy, and I said, who is doing this as a business? Because, like, I'm a business owner. That's just what I do. I'm used to working on my own. And prior to real estate, I was in human resources. So I did personal and professional development and organizational development. That was part of also the puzzle. So I was used to communicating and talking and sharing and training and so forth. And they connected me with 3 gentlemen. And I am now part of a national and international group of financial coaches that speak, teach, coach, train. And I'm out there, looking for opportunities to serve in our business community, as well as within the families and individuals that come to me just by word of mouth, which has been my base methodology in terms of how I attain new clients and so forth.
That's amazing because one of the things there's a couple things. One, Barry always says that so many people here in the States especially live paycheck to paycheck. Like when COVID hit, it was really hard for people to find the next month's rent and bills because they didn't have that paycheck coming in regularly anymore, which is really concerning because you're thinking to yourself, like, where's all that money going every month? Or some people just didn't have the job they could afford past that. And so not having a job at all really affected them. The other thing that is really concerning is that people don't talk about money here. I feel like they talk about it other places. Like, I'll give you an example. In Greece, you might be in debt, but like everybody knows you're in debt. And like you're okay with it's not okay, but you're okay with it. You're still having a cigarette and coffee with your buddies in the afternoon. But here, I feel like we're always just like, oh, I don't want to talk about it, or I don't want to acknowledge my debt. And like, no, it's okay that you have it. Like, there's no stigma to it. There's no, judging you. There's just, you need to find a solution because it is a problem and it is going to affect you.
I think in our culture, in this culture, there is absolutely a stigma to it. And that's why they're not sharing. It's like kind of like going to that really personal doctor's appointment.
Yeah, like nobody wants to talk about it.
Nobody does want to talk about it. However, it's still going on. Yeah. And I would say it's more than 70% of people are living paycheck to paycheck. I would say that it's 95% of Americans do not understand or have a comprehension of how money works. And they're two different things. Okay. The paycheck to paycheck, that is just the application and you're going through the motions.
Yeah.
The financial illiteracy is the problem.
Yeah.
Okay. And not knowing how money works, and we just cannot read money. And that is my hill to die on. I'm very passionate about it. And the other thing I'm passionate about is giving people hope in that first time home buyer purchase arena. Because in my experience, personal experience, and yes, I'm a real estate agent. I've been practicing financial wellness and coaching since 2012. I've been a real estate licensee since 2004, and recently just came on board within the past year with Shaheen, Ruth Martin, and Fonville with my great friend. When I delivered my first baby, Reese, Kristen Krupp, Sherry Baran, they were the teammates that took over my business.
Wow.
And so when I was like, okay, we got to sell our house, but my goodness, I'm a licensee. Why wouldn't I do this?
Yeah.
And work with this group, this icon. Kristen's an icon here in Richmond, Virginia, in the real estate space.
Wow.
And so I said, Kristen, it's time. This is kind of like a full circle moment. My daughter just left for college, and we need to sell our house because the multi-generational plan didn't work out, which is fine. And lo and behold, we are 100% debt-free.
Wow.
House and all. And I'm really looking forward to the opportunity to teach others in how to get there. And it is just a process, but it's also an adjustment in your behaviors. And do you want to learn the process? Yeah. Will you commit to, it's like tending a garden.
Yes.
You've got to always speak back to your budget. And if you don't like the word budget, think spending plan.
Oh, that's good. I haven't heard that one before. I like that one.
Yeah. It just allows for you to even out those valleys and peaks and valleys so that you can accomplish things, and no one's there.
No one's there, because the things that I think about is, okay, I can't go, instead of saying I can't have this or I can't have that or I wish I could have this, I say, okay, if I, play it smart and I save my money for the next 6 months, I can go to Utah and with my siblings, and I won't have to worry about, can I pay my rent? Can I pay my bills and my car payment? I'll be comfortable, and that's okay with me. And I think people are so worried about what they can't have and what they can't do, instead of just thinking about the long term, and I will be able to do this if I play it smart now.
Right. And I think I was going down this path, and Barry knows me long enough. I squirrel a lot, and I actually have a little squirrel on my desk.
Do you really?
I do. I do.
I love it.
He looks right at me and me at him. Anyway, I need to get more first-time home buyers that set of keys. There's so many opportunities. But it's not just what's happening in the marketplace. Yes, we have a shortage of inventory, which is increasing the price points and what have you. But it's also the responsibility of the future home purchaser to get on track with their finances. Because I'll tell you what, it is possible. You can do it. You have to have a plan. And you cannot let this fall to the wayside in hopes for a house one day, because what will happen is that gap that's between the haves and the have-nots is really, in my personal opinion, it's because the haves have purchased a home and they've gotten their equity, they've gotten their, stability, they've put roots down in the community, and they're safe, right? If you're not purchasing into the housing market, and there are all sorts of ways. That is one of my gifts is, okay, let's figure out, I know what the end goal is. I know how to get there. Let's see what's happening in your financial lives. And we just work the process out. And then you turn around, not in a day, it's not as if I was in 2012 perfect with the process and everything, so that now in almost 25, here I am on a podcast talking about it. That's a lot of time.
Yep. It's a process.
It is a process. I had to learn all of this stuff. It is not, we are a microwave society in a crock-pot world.
Oh, yeah.
And the slower you go, the faster you'll get there.
It's so true. I think people don't realize that, and I'm going to have a squirrel moment here, but people don't realize that it's discipline. You have to discipline yourself. There's so much overconsumption, and we're exposed to so much media that's always constantly selling us something that it's like, do you stop to tell yourself, can I live without that thing? 99.9% of the time, guarantee, yes, you can. I mean, unless it's food. Yes, go get your food. You need that. But my squirrel moment is I've heard of this thing recently called house poor.
Mm-hmm.
And what I didn't even know this existed. But what it is, and correct me if I'm wrong, is people buy homes they can't actually afford, but their credit tells them they can afford it. So everything that they make in a month goes towards maintaining being able to keep that house.
Exactly.
Okay.
Right, in terms of the definition of the house poor. And sometimes, though, and I tell my people, it's not about the price of the house. It's about the monthly payment.
Yeah.
Because, it is about the price of the house. It's not about the interest rate and so forth. Everything can be worked to that number, that monthly number that will provide for you the opportunity to get into the market and become comfortable and then grow your equity. Okay. There are a lot of people that say, buy the biggest mortgage you can, get away with, and then go backwards. But they're not, it's different. So my perspective is coming from generation, much like about 20 generation ahead of me, right? Which it definitely worked for them back in the day. Mm-hmm. It would be really difficult because they're not accounting for the growth in the assessed values, which leads to increased taxation on the property. I've been working with some people that their assessed values have equated, and their insurance has equated to more than the average car payment. So if we're talking $500, $550 as the average car payment, getting that tax bill and having to equate that to you have to add that to your monthly payment.
Yeah, it's a punch in the gut
It
if
is
you do. Like when my sister and I owned our townhouse, we just recently sold it. When we owned our townhouse, we decided to go the route that we paid the tax each month. And so we incorporated our
escrow.
Yeah, into our mortgage, into what we paid every single month for taxes. So it didn't feel like a punch in the gut at the end of every tax season that we're like, oh my God, we have to pay like so much worth in taxes. A lot of other people, though, get totally blindsided every year, and they're like, what is this number? Where did this come from? And they don't save for it.
No. And the other thing, and sometimes they just can't save for it because you've got competing, items that are rising to the top. For instance, the children. Maybe you've had you have a younger family. You're not thinking about that tax bill. You're like, okay, can I go and get formula right now? If you're, feeding in formula, can I get the diapers? I've been telling the people coming to me recently what we've effectively had going on for the past 4 years with COVID and inflation and really bad economic policy is like a frog in a boiling pot, where your discretionary income is being turned up so that it's not going as far as it used to. So thereby, okay, well, I'll just put it on this credit card. And then I'll just put it on this credit card. Oh my gosh, that one's tapped out. Well, guess what? The average credit card interest rate is like 29%. Okay? That's ridiculous. Ridiculous. And when I'm working with people, I show them exactly what that percentage equates to in dollar, because the tools that we use as the coaches, it's this wonderful formula, and it tells us exactly how much. I've had people transfer to 0%. And it has been the difference of 20 grand in some cases.
Wow.
Okay. And then we work to attack that as quickly as possible. But it's not a methodology that is the script for how to live your life. I'm not a proponent of using credit. And that's a whole nother thing. It can be a tool when used properly. It's just like gas. You can either heat a home or burn it up, right?
True, yes.
So credit's the same, But anyway, yes, we have a huge financial illiteracy problem. We have a big generation that is feeling hopeless because they feel like they can't purchase their house, their piece of the American dream. And, they're feeling hopeless. And I won't stand for that, because I know how great things can be when you write your vision and make it plain and, stand on the pillars of the American way.
I agree. And for someone that cares about it so much, I think that more people should be coming to financial coaches like yourself, which, by the way, how can people get in contact with you?
Sure. Well, my website is positivemoneymomentum.com, and you can find out more about me and who I am. But it's the pathway or I guess it's the engine that drives to all sorts of things that I'm into. But that's the landing page I'll give you, or I'm switching it over to ashleyabplanalp.com. If you can spell Abplanalp, good for you. But anyway, I'm in the midst of transforming my next steps, and
Awesome.
I'm getting the big call, I think, to start using my own name.
Oh, I think that's a good idea. And for everybody that's listening, if you're listening to us, you're probably hearing it on Spotify, BBB Sharing. Please make sure to follow, but also reach out to Ashley. It's not a joke. So many people are struggling with, financial literacy in this country. And it's just a struggle for people. It's a struggle to put food on the table, let alone keep up with the bills and the debt that people are collecting. So don't feel like it's a stigma to want to reach out to somebody for help, to reach out to somebody like Ashley for help, who can help you put your family first, put your personal finances first, so that you can have those goals later on in life.
And Barry doesn't know it yet, but we're going to be working together. We're really going to pour into our community and start getting bigger show of people, especially in the financial space, because you can build a legacy. You can create that generational wealth plan. You just have to start. And the first place to start is in your own household.
take that first step. Save that first dollar. I remember having a jar where I'd put all my coins in it. I still do it.
Yeah. Right.
I still do that.
And that can pay for, maybe you take a cruise and it pays for your excursions because you've got $400 worth of coins in your jar.
And people are like, you collect 400. Yes.
Yeah.
You do.
Very easily. Very
Just got
easily.
to start using cash again.
Yeah.
Which also reminds you how much money you're actually spending.
Yeah, exactly. That's a trick, but that's for another day.
That's for another day when I'll have Ashley drag her back in here again without her knowing. And we'll talk more financial literacy. But thank you all again for listening. And Ashley, thank you for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
Of
It's been a
course.
blast.
Thank you.